Hey, welcome back. One of the very easiest ways to almost ensure that you get a boo-boo is to use your miter gauge along with your fence at the same time, especially without any support on this side, just to use it like this. Because what's going to happen is this piece, as soon as it gets close to being disconnected from this other side, it's going to bind up inside this channel. It's going to bind up like that, and the saw blade's going to kick it right back at you. You never want to have your fence or your material in contact with your fence and your miter gauge at the same time, unless of course you've got a big enough piece over here and you're supporting it with your hand, in which case you wouldn't need this anyway. But I'm going to show you how to repeat the same cut several times using your miter gauge and your fence, but safely. So I have this short piece of wood here that I want to cut a bunch of these. So how do I do that on my table saw? I can do it on my miter saw, but how do I do it on my table saw without hurting myself? Well, here's how you do it. What I'm going to do is I've got two pieces of 3/4 inch ply here that I've glued together, and I'm going to put this up against my fence, and then I'm going to use this to set the distance of this block. And that's it, perfectly right there. Okay, so now I have my distance set. Now to be safe, I'm going to take this block here, I'm going to use this as a temporary fence, but I'm going to slide it back until I'm in front of the blade. And I want to be far enough in front of the blade that my entire workpiece that I'm cutting will clear between the blade and the front of this temporary fence. So if you've got a wider piece of material, you're going to want to bring this block back a bit more. But since this is pretty thin, I'm just going to give myself about 1.5 inches here, and I'm going to clamp this temporary fence in place there. Now, when I cut this using my miter gauge, I can just butt my piece up against this temporary fence, run it forward, and by the time I come to contact with the blade, I'm no longer touching the fence. Let's see how it works. And there we go. We have got 4 identical cuts based off our first example. And we didn't take a piece of wood to the gut.